A satellite passes over the Persian Gulf. From orbit, you can see it, a thin sliver of water between two coasts. 21 nautical miles wide at its narrowest point, smaller than the city of Houston. Carrying more weight than almost any other border on the planet. This is the most expensive piece of water on Earth. Every day, 20% of the world's oil moves through it. Every economist watches it. Every navy circles it. When something happens here, the price of fuel changes on 6 continents before lunch. A single bad week in this stretch of sea can shake markets from Tokyo to Frankfurt to Sao Paulo. This is the version you have seen. There is another one. Lower the camera, past the warships, past the tankers, down to the waterline where the cliffs begin. Slow the frame down. Let the engines fade. Whitewashed houses are pressed into volcanic rock. Fishing boats sit low in the harbour before sunrise. A speedboat cuts across the channel in the blue hour, running without lights. A goat bleats in its hold. The captain knows the patrol schedule by heart. 500 years of villages. Languages no school teaches. Boat builders who work without blueprints. Women in golden masks who run the harbour markets. Children who swim in the same shallows where supertankers pass on the horizon. Families with cousins on 3 different sides of an invisible border drawn by men who never set foot on this water. The fleets came, and the fleets left. The empires came, and the empires left. The villages stayed. A choke point is something you can squeeze. The headlines forgot to ask who, exactly, is doing the squeezing. This is Unreal Hormuz. Qumzar. At the very northern tip of the Musandam Peninsula, where the Arabian landmass narrows into a sharpened point and stabs out into the Strait of Hormuz, there is a village that the rest of the world cannot reach by road. There has never been a road. The cliffs are too steep, the geology too uninterested in human convenience. To arrive at Qumzar, you arrive the way every visitor has arrived for the last 500 years. You arrive by sea. The village sits inside the mouth of a canyon, wedged between 2 walls of bare rock that fall straight down into the water. The houses share their walls with the mountain and with each other. Around 5,000 people live here, most homes sheltering 3 to 5 families under a single roof, because there is nowhere left to expand except upward or out into the sea. And inside this single compressed village, a language is spoken that exists nowhere else on the planet. It is called Qumzari. It is the only non-Semitic language native to the Arabian Peninsula. Linguists trace its bones to Old Persian, but its vocabulary has been layered over centuries by the tongues of every sailor who ever stopped here for fresh water. Arabic, Portuguese, Hindi, Baluchi, English, Urdu. As many as 45 different languages have left their fingerprints on it. UNESCO has classified Kumzari as severely endangered. The villagers themselves have not been informed of this prediction and would politely disagree if you raised it. Their children still play in it. Their grandmothers still scold in it. It has no written alphabet, and yet every household passes it intact from one generation to the next, the way other families pass down silver or land. Places like Kumzar remind us of something the modern world keeps forgetting. That a culture does not need a written archive to be permanent, and that the most strategic geography on Earth is held together not by treaties or by warships, but by the patience of a few thousand people who simply refused to leave. Kasab. By day, Kasab is the kind of town a traveller might dismiss in a single afternoon. A small Omani port pressed against the base of bare limestone mountains, its streets quiet under a heavy sun. A Portuguese-built fort standing at the edge of the harbour like a forgotten chess piece. The fishing boats unload their morning catch. The shops close for the afternoon heat. Nothing seems to happen, and then the sun goes down. "21 nautical miles across the Strait of Hormuz, on the Iranian shore opposite Kasab, the engines start. By the time the last call to prayer fades into the cliffs, the first speedboats are already cutting through the dark water of the channel. 6 meters long, low slung, each one driven by an outboard engine more powerful than anything the boat was designed to carry. By midnight, the harbour at Kasab can hold up to 100 Iranian boats tied gunwale to gunwale. What they carry in both directions is the most resilient parallel economy in the modern Gulf. From Iran come goats, sheep, fresh fish, and crates of subsidized diesel siphoned out of the state system. From Kasab, the boats leave with everything Iran cannot easily import under sanctions. Refrigerators, televisions, cosmetics, medicine. The boats sit so low under the weight that water laps at the gunwales. The danger is not theoretical. Iranian patrol vessels treat the trade as smuggling and shoot on sight. Captains lose boats 2 or 3 times a year and still come out ahead by the end of the season. Spotters on the Iranian shore track patrol movements by phone and relay safe windows by text message. This trade is not a recent invention. It predates the borders, the sanctions, and the very concept of a customs office. The families on both shores were trading with each other long before any government printed a flag to fly above the transaction. Places like Hasab remind us that borders, for all the ceremony with which they are drawn, are mostly an idea agreed upon by people who live far from them. Shibdaraz. On the southern coast of Keshem Island, where the cliffs soften into a long stretch of pale sand, there is a 2-kilometer beach that, for a few months every year, becomes one of the most quietly important places in the Persian Gulf. From early March until late spring, female hawksbill sea turtles, one of the most critically endangered species on Earth, drag themselves out of the warm water, climb the slope of the beach by moonlight, and bury their eggs in the sand of a single fishing village called Shibdaraz. For most of the 20th century, the people of Shibdaraz ate those eggs. They were a delicacy, a small, salted, ordinary food dug from the sand the way another village might dig clams. Nobody thought of it as harm. The turtles came every spring, the eggs were collected, and the cycle was understood as part of what the sea offered. Then, in 2001, something rare happened. The villagers were asked to change their minds, and they agreed. A conservation program, supported by the United Nations Development Programme, partnered with the village council to declare 25 kilometers of the southern coast a protected hatchery. The young men who once gathered the eggs were trained to patrol the beach at night, tag the nesting females, transfer the eggs into safe pits, and stand guard against predators and poachers. For the 50 days it takes a hawksbill embryo to hatch, the women of the village began making turtle-shaped handicrafts that funded the program. By late May, when the hatchlings emerge in their thousands, it is the children of Shibdaraz who carry them down to the waterline and release them into the same waves their grandfathers once fished. The threats remain. Coastal lighting confuses the hatchlings. Plastic chokes the adults. The shipping traffic of the strait, with its noise and its oil, presses against this little stretch of sand from every direction. Places like Shibdaraz remind us of something the world rarely admits: that the most fragile creatures of a contested sea sometimes survive, not because they are saved by outsiders, but because the people who once hunted them quietly decided to do the opposite. Hengam. 2 kilometers south of Keshem, separated from its larger neighbor by a shallow channel of clear water, there is a small island that almost no one outside Iran has ever heard of. Hengam is 36 square kilometers of dry, sun-bleached land, ringed by sandbars that turn pink at sunrise and silver at dusk. 3 small villages sit along its coast. A few hundred families live here. The rhythm of daily life is so different from the modern world that the island feels less like a destination and more like a slower century, preserved by accident. And every morning, before the sun is fully up, the dolphins arrive. They come in pods of 40, 50, sometimes more. Surfacing in the channel between Hengam and Keshem in the same hour, they have surfaced for as long as anyone can remember. The fishermen of Hengam know the meeting point so precisely that visitors can be guided to within a few meters of the gathering. The dolphins circle the boats, leap, dive, and vanish into deeper water the moment the heat begins to build. The villagers do not treat this as a tourist attraction. They treat it as a fact, the way another village might treat a reliable spring. The Bazaar of Hengam is run almost entirely by women. They sit behind low tables, stacked with dried fish, cardamom pods, sea salt, and small handmade beads. Their faces are covered by the burqa, the stiff golden and black mask of the southern Iranian coast. Tourists often photograph it and assume it is religious. It is not. The mask is older than that conversation, and the women who wear it know exactly what they are signaling. For the families who have lived here for generations, the day moves on 2 clocks. The dolphins set the dawn, the tide sets the dusk. Children swim in shallows where, on the horizon, the slow, dark profile of an oil tanker passes every few minutes, bound for somewhere very far away. Places like Hengam remind us that some communities measure time not in hours, but in what arrives at the water. Larak. East of Keshem, south of Hormuz Island, sitting almost exactly in the deepest part of the shipping lane, there is a small piece of land that almost nobody outside the Persian Gulf has ever heard of. Larak is barely a dot on most world maps. A handful of fishing families live here. There is a single jetty, a few low buildings, a lighthouse, and miles of empty rocky coast where the water turns from turquoise to a deep, heavy blue within a few meters of shore. By any ordinary measure, it is one of the most overlooked islands in the region. And yet, on any given day, the lights you see passing the horizon from Larak are carrying roughly 1/5 of the world's seaborne oil. Every supertanker that moves through the Strait of Hormuz in either direction passes within sight of this island. Every shipment of liquefied natural gas bound for Europe or Asia threads the same channel. A few miles off the same coast. The crews on those vessels rarely think about the small lighthouse blinking to their north. The captains rarely look at the rocky shoreline. But the position of Larak, in the deepest and most navigable section of the strait, has made it one of the most strategically valuable pieces of land in the modern world. Iran has understood this for a long time. The island is now lined with bunkers, observation posts, missile installations, and small fast attack craft. From Larak, Iranian forces can monitor every tanker that enters or leaves the Persian Gulf, and, if a political moment requires it, can make every captain in the channel slow down and answer a radio call. In recent years, the island has been described, in the language of analysts, as a toll booth, a piece of geography small enough to ignore and powerful enough to set the price of fuel for half the planet next week. For the few fishing families who still live on Larak, the contradiction is constant. Their fathers fished these waters before any of this military weight arrived. Their grandfathers crossed to Hormuz Island for weddings. Their daily lives still move with the tide and the catch. Places like Larak remind us that the smallest piece of land on the map can decide what every economy on Earth pays for fuel next week, and that the people who live on it rarely receive any of the credit or any of the wealth that their geography quietly underwrites. The Bandari women. All along the southern coast of Iran, from the markets of Bandar Abbas to the harbours of Minab, from the bazaar of Hengam to the painted alleys of Hormuz Island, there is a single object that the outside world has been misreading for nearly 400 years. It is small, stiff, often gold or black or deep red, and it covers the upper half of a woman's face from the brow to just above the lip. Travelers photograph it. Journalists describe it as a veil. Foreign visitors assume it is the same garment worn by women across the wider Muslim world. It is, and it is not. The burqa of the southern Iranian coast belongs to two traditions at once. It is, first and most importantly, an expression of hijab and parda, the Islamic principles of modesty and dignified covering that the women of this coast have practiced for as long as Islam has been on these shores. In that sense, it is part of the same spiritual inheritance shared by Muslim women everywhere, from Morocco to Indonesia. But it is also something specifically of this coast and nowhere else. Its sharp horizontal shape, its golden edges, its tribal colors are a regional form that you will not find in Tehran or Isfahan or anywhere in northern Iran. The mask is how the women of the Bandari world fulfill a faith that the whole Muslim world shares in a style that only this stretch of coast has ever spoken. The shape of the mask, the angle of its central ridge, the color of its fabric, once communicated which town a woman came from, which tribe she belonged to, and whether she was married. It was a face that spoke before the mouth did. For the women who shape these masks, the work is inherited. A mother fits her daughter's first burqa to the bones of her face. In the bazaars of Hengam and Keshem, the women who wear them are also the ones who set the prices, count the money, and decide which boats unload first. Places like the Bandari coast remind us that modesty, faith, and authority are not opposites, and that a woman covered by tradition is often the one who sees the room most clearly. Telegraph Island, also called Jazirat al-Maklab. Deep inside Khor ash-Sham, one of the long fjord-like inlets that cut into the cliffs of the Musandam Peninsula, there is a small barren rock that almost no one would notice if they did not know its history. It is little more than a flat-topped outcrop of stone, perhaps the size of a large house, surrounded on all sides by deep, still, dark water and walls of mountain that rise almost vertically into the sky. There are ruins on it, low stone walls, a broken cistern, the outlines of a few small rooms long since abandoned. And the story of those ruins, more than any other, explains what the outside world has never quite understood about the Strait of Hormuz. In 1864, the British Empire decided that this rock would carry the telegraph cable connecting London to Bombay. It was a logical decision on a map. The fjord was deep, the water was sheltered, the position was halfway between the empire's western and eastern interests. A small repeater station was built on the island, and a handful of British engineers were stationed there to maintain it. What no map could show was the heat. The temperature inside Khor ash-Sham regularly climbed past 50 degrees Celsius. The cliffs trapped the sun and reflected it back into the water. There was no breeze, no shade, no fresh water, and no company other than the same few faces day after day after day. Within months, the men stationed on the island began to break down. Some collapsed physically, some lost their minds entirely. The journey home, by boat, required navigating the long bend of the fjord back toward open sea, and English sailors began to use a phrase for what happened to the engineers who finally left. They said the men had gone round the bend. The expression entered the English language, and it has stayed there ever since as an idiom for losing one's mind. Almost no one who uses it today remembers that it was born on a single rock in the Strait of Hormuz. The local Shihu and Kumzari fishermen, who had lived in these inlets for centuries, watched the British arrive and watched the British fail and were not surprised. They had always known how to live in this geography. They knew which coves caught the breeze, which days the heat would peak, which seasons demanded that you stay close to the water, and which seasons allowed you to move inland. The empire saw a strategic position. The villagers saw a place that demanded to be respected on its own terms, or it would punish anyone who tried to operate it from outside. The station was eventually abandoned. The cable was rerouted. The ruins remain on the island, slowly weathered by salt and sun, visited now only by tourist dhows that pause for a few minutes so that visitors can climb the rocks, take photographs, and wonder briefly at how anyone ever thought this place could be tamed by a foreign power. Places like Telegraph Island remind us of something that every empire eventually learns and forgets and learns again, that the Strait of Hormuz does not punish those who belong to it. It punishes those who try to operate it from somewhere else. The fishermen of Musandam are still here. The British telegraph station is a ruin, and the geography itself, indifferent and ancient, has outlasted every flag that has ever been planted on its rocks. Bandar Kamir? On the mainland coast of Iran, directly across a narrow channel from the western tip of Chesham Island, there is a workers' port town that almost no traveller has ever heard of. Bandar Kamir is not a tourist destination. It has no famous fort, no rainbow soil, no legendary cave. It has a fish market, a ferry jetty, a long line of small wooden dhows pulled up onto the sand, and a population whose family trees stretch across the water in directions no political map of the region has ever cared to draw. This is one of the ferry villages of the Strait. There are several of them along this coast, and together they form a quiet web of crossings that have moved people, goods, and family between the Iranian mainland. Chesham, Hengam, Hormuz, Musandam, and the Southern Gulf, for as long as anyone has kept records. The kinship maps were drawn before the political maps were. A family in Bandar Kamir often has cousins on Chesham, in-laws in Kasab, a daughter married into a household in Sharjah, and a grandfather buried on the Iranian shore of Hormuz Island. A wedding can pull relatives from 3 countries onto a single weekend ferry. A funeral can fill 2 boats. The crossings happen, and have always happened, in a rhythm older than the borders that now sit awkwardly across them. The boats themselves are still built on the shoreline. Old men shape lenge hulls from memory, working without blueprints, the way their fathers worked. Younger men learn by watching, the way the old men once learned. The fish market opens before sunrise. Mothers wait for the afternoon ferry. Children grow up understanding that the water is not a wall, but a road. The pressures are real. Sanctions choke the small remittances that once flowed easily across the channel. Border tightening has made family travel slower, more expensive, more uncertain. Young people increasingly leave for Bandar Abbas or Dubai, and not all of them return. Places like Bandar Kamir remind us that the Strait of Hormuz is not, in the end, a line between nations. It is a single neighborhood the world has chosen to draw a border through. It should not have worked. Villages clinging to cliffs that no road has ever reached. A language with no written form, surviving for 500 years in a single canyon. A harbor that empties by day and fills by night, with 100 boats running goods across a militarized border. A beach where the women who once gathered turtle eggs now guard them through the night. An island so small that most maps forget it, and yet large enough in position to set the price of fuel for half the world. A mask that the outside world mistook for silence, worn by women who were running the entire market behind it. A barren rock where an empire broke down while the local fishermen carried on. A fairy town whose families have always crossed a stretch of water that the modern world insists is a border. By every standard the modern age uses to measure a place, none of this should still be functioning. The communities are too small. The geography is too harsh. The pressures are too constant. The headlines arrive every few months announcing that this stretch of water is once again on the edge of catastrophe. And yet the villages are still there. They produced, between them, the most resilient human geography on Earth. Languages assembled from 45 other languages, kept alive without a single textbook. Economies that survive every sanctions regime ever invented. Conservation programs run by the same families who once posed the threat. Boat building traditions passed down by hand, generation after generation, with no instructions ever written down. A coastal civilization that has watched the Portuguese come and the Portuguese leave, the British come and the British leave, the oil arrive and the oil begin to fade, and has stayed exactly where it has always been. As the world enters a century defined less by stability than by pressure, where choke points will matter more than borders, where a single bad week in this strait can shake every market on the planet, the silent villages of Hormuz begin to feel less like a curiosity and more like a preview. Not the warships, not the tankers, not the missile range maps, the villages. They were the access before the oil. They will be the access when the oil is gone. The question is no longer whether they will survive the century. They have already survived more centuries than most countries have existed. The question is whether the rest of the world will ever notice who has been keeping this place open all this time. While the rest of us were watching the wrong horizon. This is not a story that ends at the Strait of Hormuz. From the Bosphorus to the Strait of Malacca, from the fjords of Patagonia to the narrow gates of the Red Sea. Every choke point on Earth is held together by the same quiet logic. Silent villages, inherited knowledge, families that have been there longer than any flag. We will find them next. Khoda Hafez.